All right, let's get into it. Today, we're not just telling a story. We're opening a cold case. It's a file that's been gathering dust for thousands of years, a mystery buried deep in our own history. You know, we're all taught that human progress is this nice, neat, straight line, from stone tools all the way to smartphones. But what if I told you we have one piece of evidence, just one, that suggests that whole official timeline is dead wrong?
And this is the question that's really at the heart of our investigation. The idea that our history isn't just missing a few pages. It's that the most mind-blowing parts were deliberately torn out. We're not just looking for a lost chapter here. We are investigating a potential cover-up on a scale that is kind of hard to wrap your head around. So, let's open the case file.
And here it is, Exhibit A. This is the key piece of evidence, the smoking gun that gets this whole investigation rolling. Now, it looks pretty simple, right? Almost unassuming. But this little object, according to the source material we're looking at, is an impossible battery. It's the artifact that just shouldn't exist, and it's the clue that blows this whole case wide open.
Okay, so let's officially dig into part one of our file. Let's really get our hands dirty with this case-breaking artifact. We need to figure out exactly why this one single object threatens to just completely shatter that neat little timeline of human progress we've all been taught since we were kids.
So let's break down the evidence tag. First off, dating puts it in a geological layer that's 12,000 years old. That's thousands of years before the first cities of Sumer or the pyramids of Egypt. This leads proponents of this theory to argue that electricity isn't some modern discovery, it's a reclaimed secret from an age we've completely forgotten. So if that holds up, this object isn't just some weird anomaly. It's a direct challenge to the whole idea that we're standing at the peak of human evolution.
Now, every good cold case needs a suspect, right? If this crazy advanced thing exists, somebody had to have made it. So who had the motive, the means, and the opportunity 12,000 years ago? Let's move on and start profiling our prime suspect in this ancient tech mystery. And right away, the suspect profile is, well, it's totally conflicted. On one hand, you've got mainstream science, which pictures the Denisovans as these primitive, archaic human cousins. We barely know anything about them, just a few bone fragments from a cave in Siberia. But the theory we're investigating, it paints a radically different picture. A globe-spanning Denisovan super-civilization whose incredibly advanced history has been actively, deliberately erased.
And the abilities they attribute to this civilization are just staggering. Seriously, we're not talking about learning to build a good fire here. This theory claims they harnessed fundamental forces of the planet, like electricity, that they were crafting this super intricate, high-precision jewelry, and maybe the most jaw-dropping claim of all, that they built massive structures all over the world with a precision that seems almost laser-like. All of a sudden, that 12,000-year-old battery doesn't seem like an anomaly anymore. It starts to feel like a calling card they left behind.
Now, any good detective will tell you one weird piece of evidence, you might be able to explain it away. But when you find multiple, similar pieces of evidence all over the world, well, that's not an anomaly anymore. That's a pattern. And that's when you know you're onto something big. So our investigation is about to widen, connecting this case to other, similar cold cases from around the globe.
The official term for this kind of evidence, this kind of clue, is an OO part. It stands for out-of-place artifact. And it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. A man-made object that turns up somewhere it has absolutely no business being, at least according to the standard history books. These OO parts, these are the other smoking guns in our worldwide investigation.
So, let's build out our evidence board, shall we? Okay, case number 1, the Baghdad battery, another potential ancient power source. Pin that up. Case 2, the Antikythera mechanism, which is basically an impossibly complex ancient Greek computer. Pin that up. Case 3, the Dendera light reliefs in Egypt, which, let's be honest, look an awful lot like giant light bulbs. And finally, Case 4, ancient maps that show coastlines, like Antarctica, completely free of ice, proving a knowledge of global geography thousands of years ahead of schedule. When you see it all together like this, a pattern definitely starts to emerge.
Okay, this leads us to the biggest question in our entire case. The real head-scratcher. If this civilization existed, with all this incredible tech, where did they go? How does all of that knowledge just vanish into thin air? Well, the theory we're exploring suggests it wasn't just lost. It was wiped out in a global cataclysm, and whatever survived was deliberately hidden, suppressed.
According to the source, the answer might lie in this destructive 26,000-year cycle. The theory goes a little something like this. An advanced civilization reaches its absolute peak. Then, bam, the Earth goes through a violent, cyclical shift, a reset, that basically wipes the slate clean. The Great Flood, a story you find in practically every ancient culture on Earth, might have been the final knockout punch. The few who survived, who our ancestors might have called gods or watchers, they hoarded what little knowledge was left, hiding it away in secret societies and so-called mystery schools.
And this is where it gets really chilling. That line of thinking leads to this conclusion. We're not at the top of the food chain. We're a civilization with amnesia. The theory even posits that these ancient secrets are still being guarded today by some kind of global elite, locked away in underground bases beneath places like Giza or maybe even Antarctica. Suddenly, that 12,000-year-old battery isn't just a curiosity anymore. It's proof that we're living among the ruins of a past we can't even remember.
So where does that leave our investigation? Well, the file is still very much open. We've looked at the evidence, we've profiled our prime suspect, and we've even explored a motive for a cover-up that spans millennia. But you know, the point here isn't necessarily about closing the case. It's about what it means for all of us if we start to reclaim this forgotten origin story.
Because according to this theory, that little ancient battery becomes so much more than just an out-of-place object. It's presented as a key, a clue, a single spark of light in the vast darkness of what we call prehistory, hinting at a past that was way, way grander than anything we've been led to believe.
12,000 years old. That's the number at the absolute heart of this case, and it's a number that just doesn't fit into the simple, easy story we've been told. According to this view, a number like that doesn't just ask for a new explanation. It absolutely demands one.
And that's where we have to close our file for today. This theory argues pretty convincingly that the timeline is not what they told you. So if that's even possibly true, if even one of these artifacts is what it appears to be, it just begs the question, doesn't it? What else is out there, buried under miles of sand or ice, just waiting for us to rediscover it?